Did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? Scientists have revealed the genome of Adolf Hitler, the most reviled man in modern history. Hitler is likely to have had Kallmann Syndrome, which points to a micro penis in his pants. It begs the question, did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? How so? The association between physical deformities and killers is well established in criminology studies. The burden of not measuring up in that most sensitive areas would, in all likelihood, spur a lifetime of resentment. All that angry oration Hitler was famous for speaks of overcompensation. Was Adolf Hitler's micro-penis shaping his hate-fueled acts? Adolf Hitler, according to historians, did not have intimate relations with the opposite sex. He was not married in the usual sense. The Eva Braun thing, by all accounts, was a very different kettle of fish. Perhaps Hitler sublimated the sexual inclination into his political ambitions and his fiery speeches. The vegetarian Führer may have seen himself as some kind of monkish Übermensch. If Hitler was not well hung, and indeed was seriously lacking in this regard, well, the asexual path may have opened up as his preferred one. The Kallmann Syndrome would have been a bitter cross to bear for a young man. Jews, Hitler, and putting penises at the epicenter. My next correlation involving Hitler's hate of the Jews is not done so to lessen the enormity of the Holocaust in any way. This genocide stands as one of the most horrendous crimes against humanity in modern history. I would, however, delve into the psychological association between circumcision of the penis and Jewish custom in this regard. It has long been seen as the physical bedrock of that faith for Jewish men. Could that surgical lessening of the penis be linked in the mind of Kallmann Syndrome sufferer Adolf Hitler with further awful associations? Being dickless and feeling the extreme omission of that state would not, in my view, encourage positive attitudes towards religions that messed with a man's penis. Sexual stuff is often irrational and volatile, rather than measured in any way. Did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? Beware nasty name-calling and its consequences. This article does not seek to justify the abhorrent actions of Adolf Hitler in any shape or form. What it does wish to do is cast some light on the evil motivations of this man. There are no excuses for Hitler. Indeed, plenty of other individuals who were born with deformities did not go on to wreak death and destruction upon millions. We can, however, put forward observations about human beings in the hope of greater understanding, which might avoid such awful stuff happening in the future. What I would say is to be careful about denigrating those with a disability or allowing such behaviour to go on around you. I grew up in Perth, where the serial killer Eric Cook was murdering nubile young folk in nighttime rampages in the early 1960s. Cook had a hair lip facial deformity and was taking his revenge upon those lucky enough not to be so scarred by nature. We know that children are often devastatingly cruel to those who feature some outstanding deformity or difference. This can have deadly consequences down the track. Eric Edgar Cook, the Night Caller, or Nedland's Monster as he became known, was an opportunistic killer and had no obvious modus operandi. His victims did not share any common characteristics, and he used different methods to commit his crimes, including shooting, stabbing, and strangling, plus hit-and-run attacks. It has been widely reported that Cook had a troubled childhood. He had a violent alcoholic father who abused him and his mother, and he was bullied at school for his facial deformity caused by a hair lip. Adolf Hitler's absence of offspring or any real relationships. What Adolf Hitler did or did not have in his pants may not have been obvious to those around him. However, we all know that what can eat away inside of ourselves, whether it be parried or picked on or not. A boy or a man is particularly sensitive about his genitalia, his junk, package or tackle, whether his schlong, cock, dick or member measures up to some ill-defined public standard of size. The taboo around our genitalia can shroud the whole topic in prurient fog. One knows that there is some expectation just the same. At some point in a boy's life, he's probably going to have to lay it on the line, expose what he's got between his legs to an intimate partner. It seems as if Adolf Hitler may have avoided this moment for most of his life. Of course, we don't actually know that, but no relationships or marriage ever eventuated as we would normally have some record in a public figure's life. The genome DNA revelation of the strong likelihood of Adolf Hitler having a less than normal penis size via Kallmann Syndrome fits with his historical behaviour in this space. Nothing is certain, but the chances are high. No offspring from Hitler is most probably viewed as a good thing by many, but this too may seal the deal when it comes to the presence of a micro-penis incapable of such feats of reproduction. Lacking a large enough penis to do the job. I am of the mind that our primary directive as human beings is to procreate the species. We often lose sight of this basic and culturally focus on the secondary manifestations of this, like falling in love. Whilst romance and love are fine human qualities, it is important not to lose sight of what is actually driving the bus. Sex is fundamentally about reproduction, and everything that comes later is an offshoot of this. If Adolf Hitler was a man incapable of this basic and primary reason for living, it would be a major malformation. There are no excuses, but it may go some way to comprehending his evil. To be born without a viable penis would place an individual in an unenviable position. Again, I would guess that others have been born in the same situation and have not followed a hate-filled path to mass death and destruction on a scale rarely seen in modern times. This is not about judgment, but exploration of the drivers of human depravity and evil. Did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? The desire to fuck someone is a pretty basic need. For those who have explored their own nature, it would be no surprise to understand that human beings operate on multiple levels within the constructs of their overall identities. When we have sex with ourselves or another human being, we engage parts of ourselves deeper inside our brains and physiologies. Our breathing changes, heart rate, and other measurables within our bodies. The male penile erection is dependent upon these changes to function fully. Now, I want you to imagine the complete absence of this process or part of human life within yourself, as was likely the case with Adolf Hitler. It has been said that Hitler was often charming to those he met socially. Was he perhaps skating on the surface of his personality more often than not? Were those deeper, more primal regions closed off for much of the time? Did that powerful energy have to find other outlets, non-sexual ones? Was it sublimated into hate-filled ambitions and aspirations? The desire to fuck someone is a pretty basic need at various times of our lives. That primal energy driving fucking is not always pretty. It is like the brainstem at the base of our minds, reptilian in nature, intent on one thing really, the reproduction of the species. No matter how some dress it up in idealistic language. Did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? Did this malformation make what eventuated more likely? We will never really know, but all the pieces of the puzzle seem to fit together in this making of a monster. Is the moral of the story, don't mess with a man's mutation. Remember that Adolf Hitler gave instructions to burn his body after his suicide. Would you want your shame exposed, something that you had kept from others all your life, to be revealed after death? especially if you were the Führer, the great leader of the German people. Again, this reeks of overcompensating for something else, something more innate to most men, the ability to father children, the ability to fuck a woman. Would a dickless Nazi Führer carry the same level of legacy in the minds who would come after Hitler? I don't think so. Sex and murder are often close companions. Passions derailed or blocked can cause rage. Did a boy born with a tiny dick turn into a vengeful monster? Did the cruel fate of nature motivate an individual to devote his monastic life to the destruction of an entire race or ethno-religious persuasion? We know that repressed sexuality can manifest itself in the lives of priests as the perverted abuse of children. This has been going on for centuries and perhaps millennia. Sexuality at its foundation is about procreating our species. No cerebral imposition can really overcome the power of base urges. Biology trumps ideology, or it can become twisted, like Adolf Hitler and the hundreds of thousands of perverted pedophile priests, teachers, and their ilk. Did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? Scientists have revealed the genome of Adolf Hitler, the most reviled man in modern history. Hitler is likely to have had Kallmann Syndrome, which points to a micro penis in his pants. It begs the question, did Hitler's small penis cost millions of lives? You've been listening to Robert Sudha Hamilton. My writing is available at midasword.com.au, midasword.com.au. Thanks for listening.